Well, good evening everybody. It's the 8th of April, it's a Thursday evening. That can mean only one thing. Yes, that's right, you're tuned in live to the Sim Racing Team Challenge. Sim Racing Team Challenge has got to be the preeminent team-based online racing you can find anywhere on the internet. Now, the fact you're sitting in listening means you already know that. So tonight, I'm going to be your host for what I envisage to be an absolutely enthralling battle on track. We're at round 3. That brings us to Hockenheim in Germany. And if you're wondering where Eckhart von Glan is, the friendly voice of sim racing, well, he'll be taken to the track for tonight. Now, what you may have missed without being able to watch it is an enthralling qualifying session, and I'll talk you through the order in a short moment. But as I said, sit back, relax, you're in for an absolute treat. Now, for anybody who isn't sure where the Hockenheim is, it is just outside of the town of Hockenheim in, now let me see if I can get this right for Eckhart, Baden-Württemberg. Now, it was built originally in 1932, and it used to go through the forest. If you've never seen old footage of the Hockenheim, you have missed it. However, in 2001, the naughty F1 officials said, it's a little bit too dangerous, so we'd like you to shorten it. What we have now is a 13-turn track that, to be honest, I have to say, even though it has been dampened down, it does make for some exciting racing. Now, if you've never seen a Sim Racing Team Challenge, let me just explain. This is all about the team. It's in the name. Drivers that you see on track may well be fast. They may well be some of the finest sim racers you see online today. However, they're not fighting for personal glory. What they're fighting for is team honor. And if you want to know how the teams are doing at the moment, let me just talk you through the standings. After 2 rounds, we find that Danielsson Motorsport Virtual are leading the way with 111 points, 1 win in the bag, followed closely by the Roaring Pipes Maniacs on 98 points. Then Danielsson Motorsport Virtual 2 take up 3rd spot, 72 points. Project D Racing are in 4th with 70 points. Then the Black Rebels are in 5th with 67. My team, I have no personal bias, of course I don't. Blue Flag Racing are in 6th place on 57 points, closely followed by Black Visor Motorsport, who have 55 points, and then DHR SimCraft in 8th with 45 points. FlatOut Racing follow up in 9th with 40 points. Then in 10th place we have Corsa Online with 24 points. FlatOut Club are in 11th with 22 points. Then DHR Apex follow closely in 12th with 18 points. We then have A&E Dagon in 13th place with 5 points. Now, as I said, we have all been enthralled with qualifying, and you'll find that the pole sitter driving a maniacal Ford GT is Roland Ehnström with a fantastic time of 1 minute 40 seconds 0.2.4. Now, when I say a fantastic time, let me put this into perspective. I've done a few laps around this track, and the best thing I could come up with was a 1:40.14. So I have no idea where those 1.4 seconds are, but that's for the rest of the guys on track to try and figure out tonight. Mikko Korkiakoski is in 2nd place on a 1:40.613, followed by Andreas Löffler on a 1:40.746, Gregory Degreef with a 1:40.749, Torbjörn Lindau on a 1:40.909, Peter Duivelaar on a 1:40.952, Johan Pesula on a 1:40.977, Kevin Clark on a 1:41.08, and Panu Ronkainen on a 1:41.182. The rest of the drivers tried as hard as they could, getting into the 1:41s, a few in the 1:42s, but most of them will be sitting back wondering how on earth Roland got around and put that car on pole with 0.6 seconds to spare. So, as you get yourself nice and comfortable, you put the cat out for the night, take the phone off the hook, tell the girlfriend, the wife, the husband, whoever it is, not to bother you. You're about to sit down and do what you like doing on a Thursday evening, enjoying Sim Racing Team Challenge. Now, just a few words for our sponsors, because Sim Racing Team Challenge can't do all on our own. You're watching courtesy of the GameHoster.net. Now, GameHoster.net provides us with all of our hosting services. The company was founded in 2004, and all of their servers are connected with a fiber optics network. That makes sure that you see the absolute best when it comes to online racing. We've also got our friends that are supporting us along the way. If you want to catch up on what's going on behind the scenes and talk to some of the drivers, you can find the forum on racedepartment.com, where they're blurring the lines between virtual and reality. Now, let me stop talking for a moment. I'm going to grab a glass of water, and I'm just going to double check to see where we are at the moment. So give me a moment. Okay, sorry about that, people. Just a few technical hitches on my end. Just to let you know, tonight's going to be slightly comical when it comes to my commentary on proceedings, because I can't actually see any of the cars on the track. So I've actually had to quit the game, and I'm now actually sitting watching the broadcast along with everybody else. Now that takes a little bit of technical technical juggling, so I've had to mute the sound, otherwise the echo coming back to myself might send me insane. So what you're going to find tonight is that I'm going to be talking about things that happened about 10-20 seconds ago. So before you think to yourself, is that deja vu? Am I in the Matrix? No, you're not. I just have a problem. Well, I have other problems, but we'll talk about that some other time. But yeah, I just have a problem actually watching the race. So I'm going to sit back. At the moment, I can see that David Garcia's with race control, and he was leading the pack around. Now, remember, this isn't the Hockenheim that all of you oldies out there will be expecting to see. The cars will not be disappearing into the forest. There will be no Ost curve. Instead, what you're going to do is you're going to see a nice, tight, technical track where it's all about getting in and out of the turns. Now, I myself managed to lose an entire second, get that, an entire second in one lap, just by getting into and out of the hairpin like I don't know what. So when I sit back with you and watch exactly how it should be done, that's a throw out to my good pal Eckhart von Glan, who did remind me last time when we was watching around the Algarve that I might need to put in a little bit of practice. I'm going to sit back and watch the Danielsson Motorsport Virtual guys show me how it should be done. So, if anybody in the chat room has any perceptive observations that they make during the race that they'd like to maybe get a shout out about, feel free to do so. Because as we all know, again from last week, things that go on in the chat room don't exactly stay in the chat room. They might make it out into the broadcast. So, if everybody's nice and ready, I'm assuming that because I see them coming through Sector 2, you're watching them actually go across the start-finish line. Sorry for the silence, I was just looking at my good friend Evo Simmons, who's telling me that I need to go and drink faster. Well, just to let you know, Evo, my glass of water is not more than 6 inches away from me. I'm alright. I might get a little bit thirsty later on during the broadcast, but I might just go and get something a little bit stronger than water afterwards, because this is going to be surreal. Now, when I say that Sim Racing Team Challenge isn't just about the drivers, let us make sure you understand what I mean. Last time out, we were all entertained by one of what I have to say has got to have been one of the best team performances in the entire history of online sim racing. We had the Roaring Pipes Maniacs, for reasons that will remain silent, not managed to actually make it to the grid in their start position. So they started at the back. Let me say that again. They started at the back. Now, if you ever want to see a demonstration of formation flying on the track, go to PSR TV's archives, download the race, and watch it. Because they made their way through the field during the course of the 90 minutes and finished where? Third and fourth. Can you believe that? If ever there was a demotivating moment for every other team on track, it was as the Roaring Pipes Maniacs came flying past them, left, right, you name it, everywhere. Now, it was all about the team, so they didn't even bother fighting themselves. They just decided to fight everybody else. Now, I'm looking at the broadcast, and I can see that we had a pretty leery moment going down into the hairpin for the first time. And I'm wondering whether or not we actually made it out alive. From what it appears, no one left the track in bits and pieces. Everybody's starting to settle down, but we already have a bit of a gap up front where Roland Ehnström is leading the way for Danielsson Motorsport Virtual, and I'm not going to go out there, but I'm thinking the Black Rebels has decided enough is enough. They don't want to see them winning another race. Now, the two tricky moments on this track for me were turn one. If ever you had issues getting into one turn, it's that one. You've got to find the braking point, drop the gear, get the nose in, all without going out too wide, because if you leave the track, you will get that cut warning. Get too many, and you will be serving a stop and go. The next moment that you're going to find yourself having a few issues is if you go a little bit too wide coming through the final turn, because those little rumble strips that they have hidden out there for you to stop you taking a little bit extra track will flip the car. Yeah, these things are like 1.5 tons, but they will end up on their roof if you don't manage to make it round the final turn properly. Now I see that the two guys up front Roland Ehnström and Andreas have decided that they would like to get this fight on their own, and they already have something like half a second on third place, which when you consider this is only a 13-turn track, I think really demonstrates just how much it's really important to get in and out of that hairpin, because you can lose a lot of time from there. I've just been giving myself a little recap on the broadcast, and I can see that, yep, it looks like the Black Rebels have decided enough is enough. Danielsson Motorsport Virtual have given themselves quite a lead in the championship, but the Black Rebels are going to take their Corvette C6 into the lead and see whether or not they can take this one and run away with it. And again, another little shout out to my mate Evo. Why don't I watch the broadcast from the pit wall? Well, I am watching the broadcast from the pit wall. The only problem with that is, as I speak, it happened about 10 days ago. So what I have to do is just watch it a little bit, catch up, figure out whether or not I've got anything interesting to say, and then just hit the mic button and let you guys hear what I'm thinking. Now, what I want to let everybody understand is that the Sim Racing Team Challenge is unique. If you've looked at all of the other online racing series, you'll find that they have quality drivers as well. I mean, we're not going to dispute that. And those championships are run quite professionally as well. Again, there is no dispute there whatsoever. What the Sim Racing Team Challenge has, above all other series, is that the teams are involved in running the series. There's a process involved whereby the teams themselves are involved in major decisions. The teams get a say in how the championship will be run. So the drivers involved in this series really get a sense of belonging. Again, it's not about the individuals, it's all about the show. Now, the series has been running for a few series now, starting out in its humble beginnings with just a few teams getting together on track because they like the way that they race together. And it's turned into, I'm going to use the phrase, global phenomenon. Now that you see before you, because so many other teams watching the broadcast like the way they went about business. Now, as I'm watching it, I see that again the Black Rebels and Danielsson Motorsport Virtual have really taken this race by the scruff of the neck and are running for it. Now, I'm not sure whether or not we're going to see pit strategies play a part tonight. Sorry, I'm not sure we're going to see pit strategies play a part tonight, or whether we're going to see the person who can actually get the most life out of their tyres get a strategic advantage. I'm going to try and predict the future, and I see that one of the 23 drivers on track is going to finish this race in the lead in about, I don't know, 80 minutes time. Which driver? I don't know, but if you wanted me to put my money on it, their name might be Andreas or Roland. Now, if anybody in the chat room would like to give me some tips on how to predict the future, or if they want to start running a book and start giving me some odds, I'll be sure to shout those out for them. Okay, looks like we've got some Black Visor Motorsport fans in the chat room because they actually think that Ben Tusting may get the lead at some point. Now, I've seen Ben on track, and let me put it this way. He's a handy little driver. I mean, there's many a times I've been on track with him and tried to figure out how the hell he got around so much faster than I did. However, if any of you see me race, you won't be so surprised that he can get around faster than I can. Apparently there's only 22 drivers on track. Oops, well, you know, as I said, tonight's going to get interesting. Maybe there'll be less than 22 when we get to the end of the race. However, I'm hoping that the little bit of lag I've just seen on my broadcast is just my system and that you're not getting it either. Okay, hopefully that little bit of moment we all just had will pass us by. It's probably because of the weather. I mean, it's sunny out there in Hockenheim, and it's sunny over here in the UK as well. Now, if you want to know why I link those two things so tenuously, it's because if anyone lives in the UK, you know that we don't get sun. But it's been out today a good 8 hours, so I'm considering that that's a good sign. The fact I can't watch the race is irrelevant. There's sunshine, it's 9 o'clock in the evening almost, and I can still see a clear day outside of me. Now, what I'm going to do is turn back to the track and pray to God that my lag has gone and that I can see that Andreas is still leading the way and that Roland is close on his heels, because I don't think Danielsson Motorsport really want to give up on the lead they have in the championship. Thank you, Ross Bell, for my little spy on the track. He's telling me that Torbjörn Lindau has spun. I'm just going to see if I can look down through the order. I have him listed as in 10th place in his Ford GT. Hopefully that's accurate. It says he's about 16 seconds off the lead, down to about 17 now. Hopefully he can recover and just get his rhythm back, because the one thing you don't want to do in a field like this is lose your momentum. If you go off the track or you start getting lapped by the leaders, what you need to try and do is get it done seamlessly. If you don't, all of a sudden you can find yourself being swarmed upon by the guys behind you. As Eckhart alluded to last broadcast, you don't get many people leaving the track. And as I say that, I'm just watching back in the broadcast and I see that Johan Pesula decided to prove me wrong and do that in the first turn. However, as I said, that first turn here at Hockenheim is not as easy as it seems. You would think just brake, turn in. However, the car gets a little bit unweighted. You can't take too much of the inside curve. Oh, and it looks like Johan didn't actually get away with it because somebody decided, as I said, they would like his position. So as he got down to turn 2, they decided to help the back go around again. The Herminator is shouting.
Sorry. Yeah, no, it's not a whisper. Sorry for the rude interruption. I have been following Panu Ronkainen for the last lap. He had a puncture. I have direct view on the cars. And Panu Ronkainen had a puncture in the last lap.
Oh, Panu, what bad news. I mean, getting a puncture in this, it's rare. I mean, if you haven't hit something, to just have the tyre give way is a pretty rare occurrence. Now, DHR SimCraft, oh, that's not good news, because that means he's down now in 21st place if my timings are accurate. Perhaps what we might see is that Panu may take some inspiration from the RPM guys from the Algarve and see if he can race his way back up through the order. Let me just give you a rundown to see if it's what you can see in front of you. I have Andreas out in front, followed by Roland Ehnström, Mikko in 3rd, Gregory Degreef in 4th, Peter Duivelaar in 5th, Ries Notemboom in 6th, Ben Tusting, trying to prove us all right, is up to 7th, followed closely by his good friend Jari Vinnari. Torbjörn Lindau is up to 9th, Gareth Davies in 10th, my teammate Mikael Larsson is up in the 11th, Neil Gort in 12th, Kevin Clark in 13th place, followed by Massimo Martin in his Mosler STC in 14th place. Carl Dubois for DHR Apex 2 is in 15th. Johan Pesula, suffering badly from getting turned around, is now down in 16th place, followed by Keith Ettles for A&E Racing in 17th. Georgios Stavakos, a new driver to STC for FlatOut Club, is in 18th place. My other teammate, Eckhart von Glan, the guy who should be in this seat, lulling you all with his dulcet tones, is in 19th place, followed by Andy Doherty for A&E Racing in 20th. Panu Ronkainen is in 21st, followed by Adam Shaw for FlatOut Racing in 22nd. So, any more takers for who's going to take the victory? Because it looks like the Black Rebels are starting to stamp their mark on this race. So far, the best race lap. Sorry,
Mark,
go ahead.
Sorry, You forgot Antonio Cambria in position number 23 for the core team.
I'm so sorry about that. I knew there were 23 people in this race. You wait till I get back to that chat room. The only problem I've got is my listing only shows me 22. So if I ever forget another person again, someone in the chat room give me a shout, say who I've forgotten, and I'll try and get that person's name out there. Now, Eckhart has already damaged the BMW. Now, let me just get this out there. In testing, before we started the season, Eckhart took our lovely M3 and put it in the wall. Now, when I say put it in the wall, I don't mean he had a little accident. He put it in the wall. I mean, 2/3 of that car was off the track. I mean, there was fire, smoke, all sorts. Now, the fact he's nursed the car in this race isn't so much a problem because, you know, as far as I'm concerned, he's still running and we all have accidents. However, the cost is starting to get extortionate, even in virtual terms. Now, I see that the Black Rebels are still out front with quite a healthy lead. And when I say healthy, anything that's more than half a second in this series is quite healthy, because the caliber of racing of the guys at the front is such that you can go the whole 90 minutes without a single second to take a breath. One day I'm going to discover just what it takes to take a second off my best lap times, and on that day I'm also going to take my winning lottery ticket down to the newsagents and buy myself a boat, because I don't think I'm ever going to find that second. It's something about the innate ability of the guys at the front, the timing, the instincts. I don't think the best sim racing technology out there is going to help me at all. Anybody that wants to try and join these guys on track, feel free, as I said, to check out the forum at racedepartment.com, introduce yourself, find out where the teams are, find their forum, find their website, and then, you know, introduce yourself again, because maybe you won't get on the grid for the 2010 season, but if there are teams out there who need new drivers, maybe they'll help you get into the team and you could find yourself in Sim Racing Team Challenge. Because I'm going to make a prediction, not who's going to win, but I'm going to predict that Sim Racing Team Challenge will be here for years. As I said, you can't get racing like this anywhere else online. At the moment, we're running a mod built specifically for this series in Races GTR Evo, and the cars have all been kind of tweaked to make sure that they're of comparable performance. Saying that, some of them are beasts. If you try to take that BMW around the track, it howls at you, but at least it's nice and balanced. I tried taking the Ford GT around the track, and let me just put it this way, Eckhart is not the only person who has put a car into the wall. Okay, looking through the order, I see that Andreas is still out front, followed by Roland. Gregory Degreef is in third. Mikko is now in fourth, with Peter following up closely in fifth. Ries Notemboom in sixth. Ben Tusting hasn't made any more progress at the moment, I should say, and still finds himself in seventh. Jari Vinnari is in eighth. Torbjörn Lindau, oops, just as I said it, I see that actually Torbjörn took eighth of Jari, and Jari's now down into ninth. Mikael Larsson, my good teammate, is in 10th place, followed by, it was Gareth Davies a moment ago, but it's now Kevin Clark for FlatOut Racing. Neil Gorp follows Gareth in 13th place for Black Visor Motorsport. Massimo Martins in 14th for Core Team. There's a shout out to Core Team because I forgot the first time round. I am so sorry. Carl Duivelaar for DHR Apex 2 is in 15th place. And then Johan Pesula, still on his recovery drive after being turned around quite ungentlemanly into turn 2, is in 16th for Danielsson Motorsport. Keith Ettles for A&E Racing finds himself in 17th place. Georgios Davakos for FlatOut Club is in 18th. Eckhart von Glan, keep going Eckhart, we believe in you, for Blue Flag Racing is in 19th place. Panu von Kainen for DHR SimCraft is in 20th. and Andy Doherty for A&E Racing is in 21st. Now, I know Adam Shaw for FlatOut Racing is in 22nd, but as I said before, I can't actually see who's in 23rd place, so I am really, really sorry for that. Please, someone in the chat room, send it up for me, and I'll get that out there.
Yes, it's Antonio Cambria. Mark, again, he's still in 23.
I'm so sorry, Antonio. Really, really, I am. I mean, seriously, next time you see me on track, be sure to give me an absolute tasting. He's still battling away, and as Eckhart said last time round, no one gives up in STC. You can see a lot of racing online, and you'll see somebody down the back, and they'll think, you know what, I'm not in this anymore, I'm going to give up. However, because, as I said, every driver on track is actually out there for team glory. You cannot let your team down. You cannot decide, I've had enough of this. You have to keep going. And that, again, is something that you don't get in many other series. So I know I sound a little bit biased. I keep going on and on about the Sim Racing Team Challenge. But hey, what can I say? That's where I am. That's what I love. So, Antonia, Cambria, in 23rd, I am so sorry. However, if ever you needed any motivation to get up into 22nd, that's it. Adam Shaw, I've got nothing against you, mate. However, Antonio needs to get his name out here a little bit more. So if he takes 22nd off you, I'll see him in my timing schemes. I won't forget, and I'll give him a little mention. Up front, Andreas is still running away. He's got just under a second on Roland. His best lap of the race so far, a 1:41.5, which, as I said, is just about as fast as I've ever been around this track. Now, I'm looking at the timings, and unless they're lying to me, it says that Mikko has made... Yeah, they were lying to me. It says that Mikko was up into first place. Now, I know Mikko Korkiakoski is good, but he ain't that good. Not to take 3 places just like that, is he? Now you can see how hard it is to commentate on a race where you're looking at what happened 15 to 20 seconds ago. I'm so sorry. This is embarrassing. Eckhart, all forgiven. You can come and have your job back. Perhaps what I should do is start practicing a little bit more so I can get myself on track and actually start fighting for team glory.
By the way, Mark, I can report you some fresh information from the server. As I am still in there, I was driving the safety car, so ask me whatever you need to know. At the moment I am watching Eckhart's car, and it's pretty damaged on the front.
You know what? Anytime you want to shout out anything you can see, you shout it out. I'm liking the fact that the first thing you told me was just how much damage Eckhart had put on our car. Now, I mean, it might be petty of me, because Eckhart did call me out last time out, and I don't want to turn this into tit for tat. However, if you'd like to say that just one more time, what's up with Eckhart's car?
Well, in the front splitter, in the right of the front splitter, he have a huge hit since the start of the race, and same to Panu Ronkainen. These are the 2 cars on the track with severe damage.
Severe damage? I don't know. You know what? It doesn't matter, because whether he's damaged the car or not, who cares? What I do care about is the fact that he's still out there, and what we've noticed, I don't want to give away any secrets or anything like that, but us at Blue Flag Racing have noticed, bring the car home. Doesn't matter what shape it's in, if you bring it home, you bring home points. Bring home points, the team rises up the table. And at the moment, we're in 6th place because the guys have a do not die, do not give in attitude. So Eckhart, we forgive you. It's only a virtual car. It's more important that you don't hurt yourself. So, anything interesting that you see on the track, anything you think I've missed, give us a shout. I've missed that Roland taken first place. Go ahead.
Yes, exactly. Roland took first place over Andreas. And also we had Adam Shaw from FlatOut at pit for first time many laps ago, around maybe 5-6 laps ago.
Okay, I'm getting it hot off the press. Thank you to all my friends in the chat room. Yep, thanks Ross. Roland is up into P1. Conrad, don't know if they shunted on the formation lap. Watch the replay. Yuri Braham. Now people, if you've not seen him, this guy's good on track and he's planning on making his entrance into the series in May. And Antonio Cambria, the core team, is up into 22nd. I can see him on the timing sheet. Thank you, Michael Hart-Jones. Awesome. Antonio, I'm going to say your name like I don't know 20 times in the next 13 seconds. Antonio Cambria for core team in his Mosler is up into 22nd place. At the moment, his best lap of the race is a 1:43.137, and he is taking core team places. As I said, it's all about the points, it's all about the finishing. So, 4th, 5th and 6th are close on track, fighting it out, and again, we're, I don't know what, an hour almost into this race, and again the racing is still tight and the racing is still clean. Now in a lot of series when you see people get nerfed and things like that, yeah, I like that word, nerfed, they might stop to slow down to let them retake the lead. You don't necessarily have to do that in Sim Racing Team Challenge because everybody on track knows you didn't do it on purpose. Now if we're seeing people pitting, this is when the racing is going to get extremely exciting because all of a sudden we're going to see how the strategies play out. Now within my team, we don't even know whether we're doing 1 stops or 2 stops. One driver's going for 1, one driver's going for 2. I'm not telling you who's going for 1 and who's going for 2 because then you'll tell your guys on track who they should and shouldn't chase down even harder. Do I ever stop talking? Horace, you have no idea. I can talk for England. I mean, actually, I'm thinking of getting paid to talk for England. The glass of water I'm drinking at the same time as well. I mean, I chat a lot. Gregory Degreef, I see, is up into 1st place at the moment as we're allowing the pit stops to roll around. That means Roland Ehnström is now in 2nd, Andreas is in 3rd, Mikko is in 4th place with Peter Duivelaar in 5th, Ries Notemboom is in 6th place. Ben Tusting still charging hard in 7th. Come on, Ben. Black Visor Motorsport all cheering you on. Torbjörn Lindau for Danielsson Motorsport is in 8th. Jari Vinnari is in 9th place for Roaring Pipes Maniacs. Kevin Clark for FlatOut Racing in his Vertigo Strife is in 10th. And Mikael Larsson for Black Racing is in 11th place. Massimo Martin for core teams in 12th with Neil Gort for Black Visor Motorsports in 13th. Gareth Davies for FlatOut Clubs in 14th, where Carl Duivelaar for DHR Apex is in 15th place. Johan Pesula for Danielsson Motorsports still hasn't necessarily made up places after being turned around and is still in 16th, followed by Keith Ettles in his Seat Cupra Racing for A&E Racing in 17th place. Georgios Davicos for FlatOut Club in his Volkswagen Scirocco. I love the look of that car. I mean, if you guys get a moment, take a look. That is one beautiful looking car. Well, he's driving around in, where are we? He's driving around in 18th place, just ahead of my teammate Eckhart von Glan, the friendly voice of motorsport. In 20th place, Panu Ronkainen with his Porsche 997 for DHR SimCraft. Adam Shaw in 21st, Antonio Cambria in 22nd, and I have no idea who's in 23rd because I can't see them on my screen.
'23, it's Andy Doherty.
Thank you very much. Andy Doherty is now the guy whose name I'm going to keep forgetting because I can't see him. So, looks like we're having some tight action on track at the moment. People wriggling around. Apex Racing, DHR Apex, sorry, taking that Aston Martin and shaking it by the scruff of its neck. Anytime you want to jump in here and tell me if there's any action on track that you see that I'm missing, go for it.
Yes, well, Mark, we have a tight group for the position 3 with Gregory Degreef, Mikko Korkiakoski, and Peter Duivelaar. Peter from RPM is pushing really hard on the group, and expecting the pit stops. I think there will be fights before and after.
David, you don't know half of it. There are definitely going to be fights after. As soon as Eckhart gets to the end of this race and watches the broadcast, my life will not be living around Blue Flag Racing. He is so going to get me next time he's behind the mic. Whilst I have you here, as one of the principles behind Sim Racing Team Challenge, is there anything you want to tell the viewers about what you see the series doing in future? What innovations you'd like to see brought into the championship? Because, again, as I said, we may well have some core followers watching the race tonight, but there may also be some new viewers who've never actually seen an event. So, what say you?
Well, it seems David has nothing to say about the future, Mark. No, I think he just
impression as well.
ran out to the pit to catch some action. It's actually he was just telling me that Ries Notemboom had a drive-through penalty. Maybe, I suppose, for cutting or something like that.
Well, sorry Mark for not answering. I was running through the pit lane trying to get some information. I am not sure if it was a drive-through. It looked like it to me, but I am not pretty sure. By the way, we have Annie Degen car on pit, making his first pit stop. And also Black Rebels car, Blue Flag cars. We are having lots of action on pit. Maybe we should follow that part of the race right now.
Yeah, definitely, because I mean, with people coming into the pits, with people fighting for position, we should definitely go to wherever the action's at. On my screen I can see that scrolling through, and there's a good battle up front for third and second place, because Mikko Korkiakoski is giving Gregory Degreef hell. Now, if anybody's ever tried to pass a C6 on track, let's just put it this way. The back of that car is wide. It's wide, it's huge, and as long as you can stay on the ideal driving line, getting past it is, to quote Michael Helen, mission impossible. Now, saying that, there is one surefire way of doing it, and just push it out of the way. That Corvette's pretty big, and it's pretty sturdy, so it can take a good bash in the side panel. That's not the kind of racing that you necessarily would see in STC, but you know, we're all grown men or grown women on track, and we don't take it personally. Roland Ehnström for Danielsson Motorsport has decided that he doesn't like the fact that the Black Rebels are trying to take this win away from them, and he's trying to stretch his legs.
We have now Georgios Navakos, his first pit stop at STC.
And how's that pit stop going? Because getting onto your stop in the pit lane isn't as easy as it looks. You've got to figure out where to put the car, not to overshoot it, and definitely not to stall it, because that's kind of embarrassing. The guy speaking from experience. How's that pit stop going?
Well, was fine. I think he took it easy.
Good, that's what I like to see. Second, third and fourth are battling hard on track. Everybody's trying to be respectful, everybody's fighting for their piece of tarmac. I think some of the viewers are getting a little bit leery, because they're kind of hoping some of them go off track, so that our good friend Peter Duivelaar can pick up the places. How is it that I've missed that Ben Tusting has managed to take himself up into 5th place? Now, for you viewers out there, Ben is driving the Ultimate GTR. Now, for Black Visor Motorsport, that was a good choice because I absolutely loved that car. It kind of has some elements of a radical about it. It's not like any of the other cars on track, and it's like if you ever played the old GTR 2, you saw all of the other GT cars, and then you saw the Maserati, which looked completely different. Looking at the replay of the broadcast, it looks like that fight for second, third, and fourth is getting a little physical because after being nerfed at the hairpin, it looks like the Black Rebels didn't quite appreciate it, and they've decided that their Corvette is a little bit bigger than your Porsche, so I'm going to push you around instead. As I said, Team Glory's at stake, so no one's going to take it personally, but there's a fight on here, people. Danielsson Motorsport are in danger of running away with this series, and the Black Rebels at the moment appear to be the team trying to take it to them. Problem is, Roland Ehnström has something like 20 seconds on this battle, and the more that they squabble over second, third, and fourth, the more he's going to take this opportunity to make hay whilst the sun was shining. And did I mention the sun was shining in the UK today?
Anyway, Mark, even if the gap from Roland to the next car looks really big right now, remember that it was Andreas Löffler in position 2, and now he is on fresh tires, while Roland is not. So maybe if Roland decides to stay on track for more time, maybe Andreas recover the position on the next laps, or when Roland decides to pit in.
That's a really good point, and that's where strategy and tactics will come into play. And as I mentioned, in Blue Flag racing, we were having the debate. Do you go for soft tyres and 2 stops? Do you go with hard tyres and 1 stop? I mean, just how gentle are you on the car? How does the car handle? So Roland out front, yeah, he's on old tyres, but it's all going to depend on whether or not he can keep those tyres in good shape. If he can keep running competitive lap times, I mean, his last lap was a 1:43.7. If he can keep running at lap times like that, then he still has a chance of making this strategy work. I mean, Andreas on fresh tyres on his last lap did a 1:42.7, so that's about a second faster, but he does have, I don't know, 50 seconds to catch up. So we're going to see whether 1 stopping or 2 stopping is the best way to go. At the moment, the onus is on Danielsson Motorsport to take this race and run with it. It's up to Gregory Degreef, the Black Rebels, to actually say, you know what, I don't think you're having it all your way, sunshine. So do we have any other action in pit lane? Anything else on track? Have we lost anybody?
Well, we have now Peter Duivelaar overtaking, or at least trying to overtake Gregory Degreef in position 2. But, well, the power of the bet managed to keep Gregory in position 2. But there is a huge fight for position 2. I am not sure, Jose, where are we exactly right now?
Yes, we are following this battle since 10 minutes ago. I think it's really interesting.
Yes, the cool thing is that even Ben Tusting managed to overtake and get position 6, and he's in touch with the group right now.
And that's the thing, I mean, this is a team challenge, but those guys fighting over second through to 5th aren't teammates. So whilst they're all focusing on trying to get track position, on trying to get in front of the car in front, they're actually slowing each other down. So they've slowed each other down to the point where Ben Tusting is now going to latch onto the back. Now, I've seen Ben on track. He ain't going to take too many opportunities to get past this lot. If one of them slips up, if one of them trips over the car in front, he will take that position off them. And when we go back to your comment about whether or not fresh tyres are the way to go, Andreas has got the fastest lap of this race so far with a 1:41.511, and his last lap was a 1:41.825. Now when I compare that to Roland's last lap, it was a 1:44.056. So that's about 2.5 seconds he's got on him there. So this race is definitely not over. The winner, I'm still not putting any money on it because anything could happen. But whilst we're all doing that, I'm going to run you through the order, as long as it's the right order. I have Roland Ehnström out front for Danielsson Motorsport, followed by Gregory Degreef in second, Peter de Villiers in third, Mikko Korkiakoski in fourth, then Tusting. Ben's doing all he can for his team, so you lot keep cheering him on. He's up into fifth. Torbjörn Lindau on his recovery drive in sixth. Jari Vinnari in the Marcos for Roaring Pipes Maniacs is in seventh. Andreas is climbing back through the field for Black Rebels in eighth. Ries Notemboom for DHR Apex is in ninth. Mikael Larsson closed out the top 10 for Blue Flag Racing.
Okay, Mark, we had in the last lap Kevin Clark and Andy Doherty at pit.
Excellent. Are they still in the pits or have they made it out?
Mark, sorry for the interruption. We have Peter Duivelaar now at pit. I was waiting for the cars in the group fighting for position 2 to pit in. It looks like Peter is the first one getting in to make the tire change.
Well, you know, that could be a master stroke because I don't know whether that's where he was going to come in anyway, or if that's just a case of we're holding each other up here. I'm thinking someone on the pit wall has decided, you know what? Running around like this, you're just wearing your tyres out, you're not making up any ground, you're faster than this battle, take yourself out of it. Go in, get some fresh tyres, get track position, and then, you know what? Just run through a clean track.
Yes, I totally agree, Mark. I think it's a team decision, or at least a wise decision, because to me the rhythm in the group of position 2 was a bit slowly, you know, and I think it was the time to enter pit, change tires, get some fresh air, and recover some pace.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it. You see it in real life racing, you'll see it in online racing. There's a problem with running in a pack of cars. All of a sudden you take your focus off of the track. You're no longer looking down the track, so you're no longer looking at your braking point. You're no longer picking up your corner entry point. What you're looking at is the back of the car in front. You're hoping, don't hit it. Brake when he brakes. Accelerate when he accelerates. So actually, all of a sudden, the car at the head of the train dictates your pace. And you see it time and time again. The faster car, like for instance Ben Tusting, has closed up on the back of this group. And he'll find himself losing time. So you know what? Why not pit? And looking at the broadcast, he's in the pits. Now again, I don't know whether or not that's when he was supposed to be coming in, but it's better to get out of this fight and get yourself some clear track time. Sorry, go ahead.
We have Ben Tusting and Jari Vinnari indeed.
Yeah, best place to be. I mean, it might be that it's when they were due to come in anyway. However, now it just leaves two cars battling on track for that position, and that's easier because now you can just look forwards. You either look forward at the car that you're trying to get past, or you look back at the car that's overtaking you and thinking, you know what, no, let's just focus on the track in front. But when you're thinking about 2, 3 cars battling behind you, you've got no idea whether one of them's going to take you off or not. So now get yourself some clear track, stop this squabbling, and maybe they can chase after Roland, because right now he's doing himself a fine job for Danielsson Motorsport. Those boys will be proud of their guy because he's still leading this race, and at this point in time, unless Andreas makes it through second, third and fourth, Danielsson Motorsport are looking good for the win tonight.
Okay, we have Roland at pit. It's interesting news. Let's see where he comes out.
Yeah, because that's the race on track at the moment.
And Mark, sorry, we have also Gregory and Mikko. So it's full action on pit. We should move there.
Definitely get someone down to that pit lane. I mean, if you can grab a team spokesman to get some words on what they think their drivers should or should not be doing, how they see the race developing. Let's go grab them, because as it goes, this race just got even more interesting. And I can't believe it, but Ben Tusting almost had himself up to the front before he pitted, but that is one good drive that he's put in this evening. Running through the order before it all shakes up, Roland Ehnström had first place with Mikko Korkiakoski, followed by Gregory Degreef. Andreas, after pitting earlier in the race, up until 4th. I'm assuming he'll take first quite soon. Ries Notemboom was in 6th. Massimo Martin for core team was in 7th. I see that Keith Ettles had a moment going through the grass, but that's okay, no damage done there. Mikael Larsson was 8th for Blue Flag Racing, and it's all changing as I speak. Ben Tusting, through all the pits, might now find himself in 10th place for Black Visor Motorsports. Johan Pesula for Danielsson Motorsport, still on his recovery drive, currently up in around 11th position, and they're all diving into the pits now. Kevin Clark, FlatOut Racing, 11th now in front of Johan. Mikael Larsson's shaking himself down into 13th place for Blue Flag Racing, and it's all changing in front of me as I speak. Gareth Davies for FlatOut Club is around 12th, 13th, fighting it out with Panu Ronkainen, who's trying to make his own recovery drive for DHR SimCraft. Massimo Martin for core team, and that Mosler, now that's a nice car as well, is in around 14th place. Eckhart von Glan for Blue Flag Racing in the BMW E92 is in around 18th place, followed by Keith Ettles for A&E Racing. Georgios Davicos for FlatOut Club in the Volkswagen Scirocco. Have I mentioned how much I love the look of that car? Is in 20th place. Adam Shaw's in 21st, FlatOut Racing, and Andy Doherty's in 22nd for A&E Racing. I'm assuming that Antonio's in 23rd, but for all the people in the chat room, I can't see.
It's me on 23 now.
Oh, Antonio, come back. Oh, no, what's happened? Antonio, I'm so sorry. See, that's just what happens when you don't get the love and attention that your efforts deserve. If I had paid him a little bit more attention during the race, perhaps he would still be here. Maybe we can get someone down to the pit lane to find out what happened, because DNFs are rare in this league, so I'm assuming that there was either something technical or perhaps a mechanical failure.
Mark, we have Ries Notemboom and Carl Dubois from DHR SimCraft at pit.
Excellent. So I'm assuming that means that Andreas is now up into the lead for the Black Rebels and is hoping that his pit stop strategy is going to pay dividends. I have it on good authority that someone's cheering on Duivelaar for the win. Go Christian Harbour. Now again, for those people that are new to Sim Racing Team Challenge, the drivers you see on track are just the drivers the teams have put forward for this event. Each team has got a lineup that they rotate, because you can only have so many drives in the season before you have to start dropping points. And that, again, is part of the structure to make sure that the focus is on the team, not on one individual driver dominating. So what I say is come back for the next event, because the drivers you'll see will again demonstrate just how strong the depth is in this field. We've got some fast guys that pedal their motors around in Sim Racing Team Challenge. So, any news from the pit lane? Because it just got pretty busy with all those cars coming in and coming out. Who are the big winners? Who are the big losers?
Well, Mark, one of the hot spots in the race was the fight for position 2. And to me, the big winner has been Peter Duivelaar. He's in P3 right now. And Gregory Degreef have lost 3 positions or 4 positions. He's on P6. But I think this is the consequence of what we said before, pitting it maybe 1 or 2 laps before you have planned.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing in racing, whether it's sim racing or real racing, the race is live, so you have to make decisions. Sometimes they work out for you, sometimes they don't. Now, looking from live timing, it looks as though Andreas in the Corvette C6 for the Black Rebels is leading this race. However, Roland Ehnström for the formidable Danielsson Motorsport Virtual is in second place, less than 2 seconds, maybe 1.5 seconds behind, and he looks like he wants this race win.
He's getting closer and closer over Andreas, and the fact is that now Roland is on better tires, possibly.
Yeah, and the thing is, we see that time and time again, that the Danielsson Motorsport guys, they're just supremely talented when it comes to sim racing. And for those people that don't know, go check out their website, because the virtual team pretty much lives off the back of their real team. These guys take their racing seriously, as do every other team that's on the grid today. Now, anybody that's putting money on who will and won't win this race, I think you should go down to the bookies and see whether or not a Ford GT is going to be taking the top step on the podium. Because Roland Ehnström means business. Less than a second behind Andreas, that Black Rebels Corvette better get wide, because it looks like Roland's here to take the win again.
The only thing is that if Andreas managed to keep the tires fresh, but now there is the overtake. It's Roland taking P1 right now in the last corner, getting into the main straight, passing now through the start-finish line. Roland in P1, Andreas in P2. I was saying that the Corvette is not an easy car to overtake because it's really powerful, gets really fast on the corner exits, but even with that, Roland is faster.
Yeah, that Corvette's got some low-end torque. I mean, when you see that thing accelerate, you pretty much expect to see bits of tarmac go flying out the back. Braking, maybe not so, because it's quite a heavy car that you have to be really on top of. But when it comes to putting your foot down coming out of the turns, that thing will rip up the tarmac. Now, if Roland's managed to get that Ford GT in the lead for Danielsson Motorsports, what I fully expect to see him do now is completely ignore the antics of Andreas behind him, and then just put in some demonstration driving. It's not going to be easy, but I fully expect to see him now try and make best of the fresh tyres, put in some consistent laps, and really just run away from the field. The Black Rebels aren't going to let him have it all his own way, though, because let's not kid ourselves. Andreas knows exactly what he's doing. He's going to be kicking himself that he's given up the lead, but he's going to make sure he keeps himself in contention, because although we're 56 minutes into this race, there's still over half an hour left to go, and anything could happen. So now that the pit stops have all happened and everybody's got their new tyres and got some fuel if they wanted some, let's just give a little bit of a rundown, because we're 29 laps in. Roland Ehnström is now leading for Danielsson Motorsport. Andreas, as we've seen, for the Black Rebels is in second place. Duivelaar, and have you noticed I've mispronounced that name about 16 different ways tonight? I am so sorry, but he's in third place. Tusting was showing on my timings in fourth, but it looks like he's now in fifth place. I'm going to wait for that to shake out, because Carl Duivelaar definitely didn't just pass 12 people. I'm assuming that's just a timing glitch. So yeah, there we go. Tusting is in fourth place. Mikko Korkiakoski is in fifth. Gregory Degreef in sixth place. Torbjörn Lindau is in seventh for Danielsson Motorsport. Kevin Clark for FlatOut Racing is in eighth with Vertigo Strife. Jari Vinnari for Roaring Pipes Maniacs is in ninth place. Ries Notemboom for DHR Apex rounds out the top 10 in his Aston Martin DBR9. And Massimo Martin for Core Teams in 11th. Mikael Larsson's in 12th place for Blue Flag Racing. Neil Gort for Black Visor Motorsport is in 13th place. Johan Pesula for Danielsson Motorsport is in 14th place in that nippy little BMW Z4 GTR. That's a nice car, that is. Carl Dubois for DHR Apex 2 is in 15th place. Panu
Sorry, Mark.
Rontainen is... Go ahead.
Sorry, Mark. Ries Notemboom made a stop and go penalty right now. He's pitting out, position 14.
Yeah, see, that's the problem with this track. As I said, that it's a nice track to drive once you get it hooked up. The problem is turn 1. If you don't get turn 1 nailed, you will find the car drifting out to the left. Now, watch the cars as they go around. You can drift out to the left, that's not a problem, but you better get back across the rumble strip before you pass those 2 cones. If you don't pass the 2 cones on the right-hand side of them on the track, you're going to get yourself a cut. Get 2, 3 cut warnings, and you're going to get yourself a black flag.
No, I was only agreeing with you, Mark.
Hey, don't apologise. You know, if you have anything to say, David, you just jump in, tell me to shut up, because I've been talking for like an hour. My glass of water is empty, and would you believe not a soul in the house has even volunteered to get me a new one. I mean, they must wonder what I'm doing in here talking to myself non-stop for an hour. But it's all right. I'm a trooper. Not to let the rest of the guys go without... well, you know, someone's got to. But not to let the rest of the guys go without getting their shouts out. Gareth Davies for FlatOut Clubs in 17th place. Eckhart von Glan for Blue Flag Racing, my team. Come on, Eckhart, you keep going. Is in 18th place. And you know what, Eckhart, you're turning in some competitive laps. I'm going to give you some proper props when you get back to the team. Georgios Stavrakos for FlatOut Club is in 19th. And yes, I do love that Volkswagen Scirocco. I do it. I'm not going to buy one or anything like that, but on track, it's just so unique. Keith Ettles is in 20th for A&E Racing in his Seat Cupra. Adam Shaw for FlatOut Racing is in 21st, and Andy Doherty is in 22nd for A&E Racing. And unfortunately, there isn't a 21st place. So, do we think that Andreas is overdriving his car? That's the question in the chat room. Well, if the timing's right, I don't think so, because it looks like he may have taken the lead. Do we have that on track? Because if Andreas has taken the lead back up Danielsson Motorsports, STC just took off, because that means Danielsson Motorsports Virtual is not having this their own way. The Black Rebels have something to say about it.
I wonder what happened, because I am constantly checking different fights and what's going on track, and I miss that overtaking. And for the distance between both cars, Mark, I don't know if you can tell me what's the difference between them.
Let me have a look for you, because all of a sudden I have a big red box saying undefined on my timing screen. It looks like it's about 2 seconds, but it might be more than that. Let me refresh the page and I'll get you some better timings.
Wait, now I get it. It's 8 seconds difference. So, looks like maybe it was a problem or a mistake from Roland, which is not usual, but is the only option I see for that distance between them right now.
See, it seems like Roland did have a problem. Yeah, my new best friend in the pit lane, Ross Balfour, did you like that shout out? Reckons he made an error on the last lap. That's not good. Do you know what though? I might take a tenner, put it out there to anybody who says that Roland will not make back that gap over the next 10 laps, because that guy is the boss. So let's see, who are the best movers on the grid at the moment? I think that shout's probably got to go out to Ben Tusting at the moment. The pit wall had his back about an hour ago. They were saying that Ben was on for the win, and he's doing everything he can to try and prove them right. He's up into 4th place. He's got about 30 seconds he needs to make to get up to Andreas, but as we've already seen, anything can happen in racing, and it most invariably does. Andreas, this is your moment. Take the race by the scruff of the neck and run with it. The Black Rebels want the points. The Black Rebels want the championship. And if anybody is going to take Danielsson Motorsport's winning streak away from them, it's got to be you guys at the moment. And the reason I say that is because you're currently leading the race, nothing else. I have no favourites on track, none whatsoever, other than anybody driving a BMW that says Blue Flag Racing all over it. Anyway, it looks like the racing on track is not the only place that's getting a little bit lively. It looks like everybody in the chat room's getting a little bit lively as well. Calm down in there, boys, you know, it's only racing. No one needs to fight or anything like that. So, David, then, back to the question I asked you a while ago, now that you've had a chance to think about it. STC, it's been going for how long? It started where? And if there was one thing you really, really, really wish you could get for STC in the future, what would that be?
Well, you know, Mark, where it was born. It was a Blue Flag idea. I don't know if it was you, it was Christer, it was Mikael Larsson, it was Eckart, who came and gave us a really good idea for create a competition. We at TBR had the possibility of host the forum and had a server to host the championship. And in the beginning it was a touring car championship. In the first and only season it was with this format.
Yeah, I remember those days. Unfortunately, it wasn't my idea. I don't know where the idea came from. But yeah, it was a case of let's get the teams together just for some fun. Guys you know aren't going to try and wreck you. Guys who actually just a little bit more focused on having some fun on track, some nice clean racing. And yeah, it did start with the race 07 series, didn't it? Touring cars running around, and all of a sudden it got a little bit more momentum behind it. Next thing you know, we've got some of the best sim racing teams in the land racing around on track on a Thursday night with a viewing public that I'm not even going to guess what the numbers are. I'm going for 17 billion. What do you think?
Well, of course. I don't know, the idea
I remember the reason why the first season was with touring cars. Because you started it as a pre-season championship for the race department touring car championship at that time.
Ah, yes, that's right.
So that's why it was with touring cars.
Oh, I'm so glad you're here. I mean, how could I forget that? Gosh, I'm losing it with old age, and I'm not even that old. Yes, it was, wasn't it? And speaking of race department, I think it's about time that I got on with my broadcasting duties and just reminded everybody that the only reason we're able to watch this tonight is because the GameHosters.net is providing us with our server solutions. We do have the support of our friends in the racing fraternity, RecDepartment.com, who are quite graciously allowing us to host our forum there. And again, if you want to go and have a chat with some of the drivers, find out what's going on behind the scenes, go and grab yourself a look over there.
Guys,
a little bit of a shout.
Sorry. We are having one of the best overtakings of the championship right now. I am following Roland Ehnström and Andreas Löffler. They had some traffic on the tarmac. And it was, if you remember the Mika Hakkinen overtaking over Michael Schumacher at Spa, it have been almost the same, but with two cars in the middle. The Mika Hakkinen overtaking was with Ricardo Zonta between them, if I remember right. In this case, we had Annie Racing and FlatOut car between Andreas Löffler and Roland Ehnström. I think Ross Balfour will include this moment in his highlights videos. I am pretty sure it have been amazing.
See, of all nights for my system not to be working right, because I would love to have seen that live. I mean, I also think someone owes me money. I don't know who accepted the bet, but Roland Ehnström, Danielsson Motorsport Virtual. Yeah, he's back out in the lead. 10-second gap. That's nothing. I'm Roland Ehnström, and I'm good at what I do. Andreas is going to be kicking himself. I mean, seriously, you've had 10 seconds, 5 seconds, all of a sudden you come across some back markers. Next thing you know, you're looking at the back of a Ford GT, and you're like, seriously, did I pass him like 5-6 laps ago? This is why the racing in this league is just so impressive, because you know what? Andreas has got it all to do again. Whereas Roland's thinking, okay, job done, reboot, now let's get on with it. And he's going to go back to his original planner, let's go run and hide. Top 10 at the moment, Roland Ehnström for Danielsson Motorsport. Andreas is back in second now for the Black Rebels. Come on, you can keep this entertainment going for us. Peter Duivelaar, and please, Peter, I'm really sorry for butchering your name in front of so many people. For Roaring Pipes Maniacs is in third. Ben Tusting keeping the fight going, and now only 24 seconds back for Black Visor Motorsport is in fourth. Mikko Korkiakoski for DHR SimCraft is in fifth. Gregory Degreef for the Black Rebels is in sixth. Torbjörn Lindau for Danielsson Motorsport Virtual is in seventh. Kevin Clark for FlatOut Racing is in eighth. Jari Vinnari for Roaring Pipes Maniacs is in 9th. Mikael Larsson for Blue Flag Racing is in 10th. Last of your top 10. In 11th, Ries Notemboom for DHR Apex is running in his Aston Martin DBR 9. Massimo Martin for Core Team is in 12th place. Johan Pesula is in 13th for Danielsson Motorsport. Neil Gore 14th for Black Visor Motorsport. And Panu Wankainen in 15th for DHR SimCraft. I'm looking back at the broadcast and I see that it looks like Andreas has pitted for tyres again. Is that right? Tell me from the pit wall.
Yes, it's right, and he's pitting out in P9. He made a very early pit stop, Mark, so maybe it was an option. By the way, bad news for your team, Mark. We have Eckert out of the race. Don't ask me why, but he is on pit, so looks like an engine failure, something like this.
No, don't tell me that. Lie to me. Eckert, get out. Push it across the line. I mean, we've seen that before. We need the points badly. Ah, what a shame. Oh well, he gave it a good go, and you know what? That's the most important thing. I'm quite sure that he'll be bringing himself back now. He'll be sitting down, watching the broadcast. So for everybody out there, shh, we've only said good things. The race is starting to heat up now, though, because Andreas and that pit stop, we'll have to find out afterwards whether it was his original strategy, whether it was something he's done differently, whether he took a lot of life out of those tyres fighting for P2 and P1. But as it stands, Roland Ehnström now has an extremely healthy lead of 21 seconds over Roaring Pipes Maniacs. Ben Tusting, not giving up at all, is only 8 seconds back from second in third place for the Black Visor Motorsports. Mikko Korkiakoski, DHR SimCraft, the Porsche 997 RSR, is in fourth place. And Gregory Degreef for the Black Rebels is in fifth. Anything interesting that I'm missing? Because I'm really starting to confuse myself watching the past and commentating on the future.
Well, with Andreas pit stop, as you commented, some positions changed, and Peter Duivelaar is on position 2, Mark, which means a really great result for RPM again. And my question is, who will pit again for a second time? It depends a lot on the car, on how much demanding it is on the tires. So should we expect a second pit stop for the Gregory's Corvette, or maybe the Porsches? What do you think?
Well, what's going to be interesting is seeing whether or not teams have applied a team strategy whereby both cars will run the same pit strategy, the same fuel, the same tyres, or whether the teams would have hedged their bets and put one driver on one set of tyres and another on another. Because you would realistically think, well, if Andreas has pitted and pitted this many times, that his teammate would as well. But then again, we've got Roland up front, who I'm going to put a guess is running on hard tyres, even with his speed. If he's not running on hard tyres, I'm going to cry, because he's made his tyres last an unbelievable length of time. And yeah, he might lose about 2 seconds over the course of a run, but his 2 seconds is still pretty much as fast as I'd be running on fresh tyres. So you ask a good question. Maybe we should chuck it out. Maybe we should ask the pit crews. Maybe we should run up and down the pit lane, see if we can grab a team spokesman, and see if we can drag them into the broadcast booth to spill the beans on what they're going to do. So anyone from Danielsson Motorsports out there watching the race who wants to tell us exactly what your strategy is for the race, let us know. No takers yet. So again, it's Thursday. You're watching the Sim Racing Team Challenge, brought to you by the GameCloser.net. If you want to check out any moves, you want to see what the conversations are going to be like after this race, check out the forum on racedepartment.com, where we're blurring the lines between virtual and reality. And if you're wondering how you're watching this phenomenon of a series, thank the guys at TSR TV who are enabling us to broadcast this live to the nation. When I say the nation, I mean the online sim racing nation. We have no borders, we have no boundaries. Countries mean nothing to us. If you're sitting next to somebody and you're watching online racing for the first time and you're thinking, that looks easy, grab a wheel, grab some pedals, sit down and see if you can take one of these virtual beasts around the track anywhere near the fastest lap of the race, which was set by, you guessed it, Andreas in his Corvette C6, which is a 141.3. I mean, how do you do that? How do you set 141.353 in the middle of a race when you've been going for like an hour and 15 minutes? That's the level of competition you'll have to put up with. So that's the challenge. Anybody out there that isn't into sim racing yet, who got dragged in front of the screen to watch this, get involved. It's not that hard. Grab yourself a game, grab yourself some peripherals. You can get them for quite a competitive price, and then get involved. Check out simracingteamchallenge.com. That's where it's all about. Or go to Race Department, where you can also read about any other titles. The series that you should be trying to get into is the Sim Racing Team Challenge, because it's all about the team, not about the individual. So, who are we watching at the moment? Because I think Roland Ehnström deserves some airtime, but then again, if we have a close battle on track, we should be checking that out as well.
Okay, second pit stop for Georgios Savakos.
Excellent, and how's that going?
Well, I think it's going well. Yes, he's stopped at pit. Looks fine for me, Mark. We have already Andreas Löffler trying to overtake Jari Vinnari, and he managed to. So Andreas Löffler is in position 8. There was a bit of a contact, very slightly. And we have Gregory Degreef suffering a lot on the old tires. In P9 he has lost many positions. Looks like he made a mistake or something. So I expect him to pit in this lap as well.
See, that's going to be really interesting because from my clock, we have about 13 minutes left of this race. So some guys out there are going to the flag. And it's all going to depend on, well, what are your tyres like? Because by this point in the race, most people are probably carrying about the same amount of fuel. So Andreas stopping for fresh tyres may well mean that he can make short work of Kevin Clark, Torbjörn Lindau. I'm not going to say short work of Ben Tusting, but on fresh tyres, the light car, he should now start to be able to go on what we might describe as a qualifying run and just set fast lap after fast lap after fast lap. The battle still commences. Danielsson Motorsport trying to make sure they bring home a huge haul of points. The Black Rebels don't want them to have it their own way, and that means we'll take as many points off you as we possibly can. Every other team that's on the grid is fighting for their points as well. And again, we're like 80 minutes into this event. This is a proper workout of concentration, focus, stamina. Anybody that gets to the end of this race with less than dents on their car, I take my hats off to you. So where's the closest battle on track? And do we have that on screen?
We are following Andreas Löffler's progress. He overtook Jari Vinnari, and he is following now very close Kevin Clark in the fight for position 6. Mark.
Ooh, excellent. Yeah, because Kevin has just under a second on Andreas, but Kevin in his vertical stripe is going to be on old tyres, and I'm not sure he'll be able to put up with that amount of pressure because Andreas is going to be on a mission. No disrespect to the guys in front of them, but the back of the car he wants to see is a Ford GT, and if he can climb through the order, he should be able to recoup quite a few points for the Black Rebels because he's still got about 11 minutes to go, and he only has to make up 50 seconds to take this win of Danielsson Motorsport. So our top 10,
okay.
Roland Ehnström, go ahead.
Andreas already overtook Kevin Clark, and now the next car, some seconds ahead, it's Torbjörn Lindau.
Excellent. That's what you like to see, a recovery drive if ever there was one. So Roland Ehnström then leading us home after 43 laps for Danielsson Motorsport. Duivelaar for Roaring Pipes Maniacs, and again I apologise for what I just did to your name, I really do apologise. It's 22 seconds back in second place. Mikko Korkiakoski for DHR SimCraft is in third. Ben Tusting is still battling away, and Ben is less than a second off of Mikko for Black Visor Motorsport in fourth place. Torbjörn Lindau for Danielsson Motorsport is in fifth place, followed by Andreas Löffler, who is trying everything he can to get as many points for Black Rebels off the Danielsson Motorsports Virtual team in sixth. Kevin Clark for FlatOut Racing is in 7th place in his vertical stripe. Jari Vinnari is in 8th place for Roaring Pipes Maniacs. Gregory Degreef for the Black Rebels is in 9th place, followed by Ries Notemboom for DHR Apex in 10th. Mikael Larsson, my teammate at Blue Flag Racing, is in 11th. Just ahead of Johan Pesula for Danielsson Motorsport Virtual. Massimo Martin for Core Team is in 13th, driving around in his Mosler. Neil Gort in his Ultima GTR for Black Visor Motorsport is in 14th. And Ron Kainen, who's not having his best night, is still on his recovery drive in 15th place for DHR SimCraft, while Carl Duivelaar is in 16th for DHR Apex 2. Gareth Davies for FlatOut Club in that Volkswagen Scirocco in 17th, followed by Adam Shaw for FlatOut Racing in 18th place. Georgios Davakos is FlatOut Club second driver in another Volkswagen Scirocco, love that car, in 19th place. And our safety car is sitting in the pits, holding down 20th spot. Now that car has been putting in some consistent laps all race. It did too. So, Roland, your team, they're crossing their fingers. Well, not really, because they think you've pretty much got this in the bag. The rest of us, we're not so convinced because you know what? The Black Rebels have decided they want to come and play. So what's the closest battle on track? Is that over third and fourth? Because I think Ben Tusting really wants to get on the podium in that vertigo. No, he's not in the vertigo stripe. Sorry.
Yeah,
he
it
definitely
looks
wants
like
the podium.
Ben Tusting is on a really good pace. In fact, in the warm up, he set a really fast lap, even better than his quali lap. With a lap that would have been a P2 in the quali, and in the last lap he was even flashing lights to Mikko. So the fight for position 3 and for the podium will be hard.
Yeah, I don't know whether flipping his lights is going to do anything for him though, because in this game you don't have the same effect of the headlights as you do in others. So unless Mikko is looking really carefully in his rear view mirrors, all the headlight flashing, then just get down to racing. That Ultimate GTR, that's what it is, not a vertigo stripe, is a nippy little thing anyway. So all he's going to have to do is pick his spot. Can he get close? That's the question. Can he get close to the 997 in front of him? And if he can he stick it up the inside and put a block pass on? Roland's running away with this one right now. He can be putting himself into, I'm going to say it, cruise mode. And as soon as I say cruise mode, everybody on the pit lane is going to scream and shout, he's not cruising, he's racing. Second place is still over 20 seconds back. That battle for third and fourth is probably some of the best action we've got on track at the moment. However, Andreas Löffler is still trying to climb up through the order. He's in 6th place at the moment, but only 3 seconds back of Torbjörn Lindau, who's in 5th. Kevin Clark is still trying to claw some very respectable points for FlatOut Racing in 7th place. Jari Vinnari for Roaring Pipes is in 8th. Gregory Degreef for the Black Rebels is in 9th, and Ries Notemboom closes out your top 10 for DHR Apex. So, is there anybody out there brave enough to put money on who is going to take the last spot on the podium? Come on, be brave. Looking at the replays of the broadcast, I see that Ben's getting a little bit leery because he's definitely on it, so don't let that... Go ahead.
Mark, you want a bet for the last car on the race standings?
No, that would be you in the pace car. I want the last car on the podium. I'm not just giving you money. Oh, it's been a long day at work, but it's not been that long. You'll have to get up a little bit early to get that one by me. Balfour's putting his money on Ben Tusting. Come on, all you Korkiakoski fans out there, put your money where your mouth is. Is it going to be DHR's SimCraft to take the last spot on the podium, or will Black Visor Motorsport nick it at the death? Okay, the bets are just getting silly now. The PSR TV mobile unit is not in this race. It's broadcasting the race. And again, for those people out there who haven't seen all of our races, take yourselves over to psrtv.com or prosimracing.com. Check out their archive section. Have a look for the STC races in there and bring yourself up to speed, because if you think the action that you've seen on track tonight has been intense, it's nothing. We do intense like it's going out of style. So, predictions are, from me, that Roland is going to win this race for Danielsson Motorsport, which will give them even more points in their points haul. Peter Duivelaar for Roaring Pipes Maniacs is going to do everything he can to hold down second place and ensure that he consolidates Roaring Pipes Maniacs' place in the standings. Mikko Korkiakoski is going to do everything he can to make the back of that Porsche even wider than it is for DHR SimCraft in third place. Go ahead.
Mark, Andreas Löffler already overtook Torbjörn Lindau for position 5. So we have already Andreas Löffler in P5, and they are not really that far from Ben Tusting, and I know there are only 5 minutes remaining, but the distance is not really big, so we could even expect contact from Andreas with Ben Tusting and the fight for the podium in the last lap.
Yeah, because that's a really big development for the race, because Andreas taking Torbjörn Lindau can actually go a long way to nullifying the huge points haul that Danielsson Motorsport Virtual were going to take out of this race. Because by getting in front of Torbjörn, he at least makes sure that he eats into that points. And as you said, they're only 4 seconds back from Ben Tusting, who last time I saw wasn't closing down on Mikko Korkiakoski. He was still about 2 seconds off him. And if Ben is focusing on looking forwards, he may not see that Corvette of the Black Rebels creep up behind him and nick that spot off him at the last. So, with about 2 minutes left of the race, maybe Black Rebels want to get out there, put their money on it, and say that Ben Tusting might find that he's not fighting over 3rd place, he may end up in 5th, because Mikko Korkiakoski, as the people on the pit wall have said, he's putting in some pretty consistent lap times at the moment.
The time difference between Korkiakoski, as an example, and Löffler in the last laps, it's around 1 second, between 1 second, 1 second and a half, even 2 seconds in some laps. It will be close because there are only 2 minutes and a half remaining for the end of the race. It will be close, but I am sure he will get in touch at least.
But you've all heard that in motor racing so many times. Catching is one thing, passing is another. And although we've had some fine displays of passing on track tonight, I can't see Mikko Korkiakoski giving up that spot easily. So Ben Tusting's looking forward, trying to catch him. Andreas is putting on a beautiful drive. I mean, his lap times are far more consistent. He is, just in case you hadn't noticed for yourself, the fastest guy on track at the moment. And to put it into context, he's lapping about 1.7 seconds faster than Ben Tusting at the moment. So, with just under 2 seconds between them, any takers that he's going to catch him on the next lap. I mean, I'm saying 90 minutes are done. Are we about to take the last lap of this race? If we are, should we give Roland Ehnström and Danielsson Motorsport Virtual their time in the sun and put them on the big screen?
Yes, we are about to enter into the last lap of the race. Once Roland passed through the start-finish line, it will be the last lap of the race.
So you heard it there, folks. Last lap of the race is on its way. Roland Ehnström is definitely doing all he can to close out another win for Danielsson Motorsports Virtual. Peter Duivelaar for Roaring Pipes Maniacs, sorry for what I just did your name for the umpteenth time tonight, is in 2nd place. Mikko Korkiakoski for DHR SimCraft 2 is in 3rd place. Ben Tusting is still in 4th at the moment for Black Visor Motorsport. However, Andreas Löffler for the Black Rebels is going to do everything he can on the last lap to take that from him. Torbjörn Lindau in the 2nd Ford GT of Danielsson Motorsport in 6th. Kevin Clark for FlatOut Racing in 7th. Jari Vinnari for Roaring Pipes Maniacs in 8th. Gregory Degreef for the Black Rebels in 9th. Ries Notemboom for DHR Apex closes out your top 10. So, last lap it is. last lap it is last tour around this 13-turn, 4.5 kilometer track in Hockenheim, and Roland Ehnström is going to bring home the points haul for Danielsson Motorsport, and I take my hat off to you, sir. Yes, that was a demonstration of racing excellence. Roaring Pipes are going to take second spot on the podium, and then DHR SimCraft, unless something exciting happens, is going to take third spot via
Roland crashed in the last corner, but still he will make it. But crashed in the last corner of the race.
And guys, the fight for position 3, it's really close, and it's fantastic, I think, in position 2 right now. No, sorry, my mistake.
So for anybody who was wondering what on earth I was talking about those rumble strips waiting for you on the last turn, Roland Ehnström, just because he can, decides to demonstrate it for us. Yep, the car went flying, however, what is more important is his flying finish as he takes the win for Danielsson Motorsport Virtual. Congratulations, that's another points haul, and you've been watching Sim Racing Team Challenge. So as we wait for the rest of the cars to come across the line, watching the broadcast, it looks as though we may actually have a surprise on our hands. Timing says Peter de Villiers for Roaring Pipes Maniacs finishes in second. Mikko Korkiakoski, I hope timing is telling me the truth, finishes in third. Ben Tusting for Black Visor Motorsport should have finished in fourth. However, I'm going to wait for the timing to shuffle up just to make sure, because we may have had some last lap action. Okay, I'm going to go with the live timing that I have in front of me, and if it's wrong, I apologise, but as I've said already, I'm watching the race in the past, commentating on the future. I have it as a win for Danielsson Motorsports Virtual after 51 laps. Roaring Pipes Maniacs take second place. DHR SimCraft 2 take third. Roaring Pipes Maniac also in fourth. FlatOut Racing in fifth. And ladies and gentlemen, if you wanted to know what the Sim Racing Team Challenge had to offer online racing and its fraternity, you just saw it. Some of the most exciting team-based racing on the internet, some of the most talented drivers to drive a virtual car around any track, and a presentation from a production team that have done their absolute best to convey the excitement both on track and off track. So congratulations. Fine racing, a fine result, and I think I'm finally due a glass of water. That's the race brought to you from thegamehosters.net, providing our game servers solution. Our friends at racedepartment.com, thank you for hosting our forum. Go check out the forum if you want to know all the post-race chats and debates. SimRacingTeamChallenge.com is the website to go and have a look at the final point standings. And thank you to PSR TV for broadcasting our event live to the world. So, for all you viewers out there and all of you who are appreciative of the fine performance that Danielsson Motorsport Virtual put on for us, we beg that you don your hats, take them off, as we play out with the Swedish national anthem. That was the Swedish national anthem. Thank you to all of our racers. Thank you to all of our production team, Jose Estrada, David Garcia. Thank you to all the drivers who put on a fine performance for us tonight, and all of the teams who, you guys have to understand, put in many laps of practice to prepare for this. This has been Sim Racing Team Challenge around the Hockenheim. And for your viewing pleasure, I have it on good authority that we have the podium finishers in the broadcast booth with us. So, good evening, gentlemen. Congratulations and welcome. Roland, if you'd like to start us off, a fantastic performance.
Yes, thank you. That race was a lot of fun, a bit more fun than I had planned, for several reasons. But my driving was very good today, I think. But lots of crazy things happened.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about from your perspective, but from us, it looked like you had absolute control over that race, apart from when the Black Rebels decided to try and make it interesting for you. What were you thinking at that point?
Yeah, I could tell actually on lap 2, I think, already that Löffler was on a two-stopper because he was so much faster in the beginning, so I estimated he had only a half tank of fuel or something. So he came storming by, and I didn't fight him, just waited behind. Then his tires went, so I could pass him after a few laps. After that, before that, we had that big lag thing when everything was crazy for a while. But then after this pit stop, he was in front again, of course, so I had to pass him once more, and then everything was settled down. I thought that this would be a nice ride to the finish, and then my computer went from the game to the desktop suddenly, luckily in the middle of the hairpin, so I didn't crash totally, but I was in the gravel and lost 12 seconds, and I lost the lead again, so I had to pass him for a third time.
Okay, a little bit more exciting than you probably were anticipating. Was there at any point, other than when your game took it to desktop, that you thought that you might not get the win?
When it started lagging on lap 5 or something, it looked a lot like it was my connection. So I thought that everything was gone, but then everyone else was starting to scream on TeamSpeak about lag, so then I just tried to avoid all the crazy cars everywhere. When it went to desktop, that has never happened to me before, so that scared the crap out of me.
I bet it scared the crap out of everybody else as well. So, other than that, did the race pan out the way you planned it? I mean, I'm sure that you guys at Danielsson Motorsport Virtual did a lot of practice for the race. Had you already locked down your strategy? Did you lock down your setup? Or did you still have to do some development during the practice session before the race?
Yeah, before today started, everything was settled. I had I had a plan A and a plan B, so I could have gone either way on strategy. But I went with plan A and it worked. But in the practice before, in the week before, it was quite interesting because first I thought the tires wouldn't last so good, and maybe we were thinking about two stops or going for hard tires all the race and stuff like that, and then in the end I got the better setup and better driving, and the tires started working.
Well, yeah, they definitely started working because from our perspective, you put on an absolute demonstration run. And although obviously it wasn't as easy as it looked to us, Danielsson Motorsports, you're really starting to put in a challenge for taking top honours in STC this season. If you were putting money on it, how confident are you that you guys will be taking the championship this year?
Not at all, because last season after 3 races we also had a big lead and we lost it in the end, so we're just fighting for every race, and we're getting into a very interesting part of the championship now with races every week and new tracks which few of us have driven before, so it will be very hectic and a lot of work now.
Well, thank you very much. I'm quite sure that after all of your efforts, you want to take a bit of a break and perhaps a little bit of a drink. But Roland Ehnström, everybody, our race winner. Thank you very much. Also in the booth, we have Peter, when you see this broadcast, you're going to hunt me down and slap me for what I've done to your name. But before that, congratulations on second place. Would you like to tell us how your race went?
Yeah, thank you very much. The qualification was quite bad for me. Sixth place wasn't what I had expected. I thought I could have got second place. So I decided to make the best of it in the race. Then, well, in lap 5 the strange thing happened with the lag. I had to go off track because otherwise I would have hit another car. And, well, I had a small gap behind the Mikko and Gregory. And I managed to come closer. And for the first stint, I stayed behind them and was in battle with them. And I decided to pit earlier than I first had prepared for. So I would have fresh tires and then I could hot lap for a few laps. And well, that worked out very well because I had the 8-second gap after I came out of the pit stop. And from that point on I just drove it to the finish and nothing big happened.
So once you got over the surprise in your qualifying performance, what were you expecting to take from the race? What was the minimum position you wanted to end up with?
I was still focusing on that second place. I knew Roland was much faster, but I also knew that I could keep up with the pace of the rest of the guys, so second place was what I had aimed for.
Well, thank you. What plans have you guys got with your driver lineup? I mean, do you guys know who we'll be seeing in the cars at Sugo? Because as I've been telling the viewers, it's all about the team championship. So, who will you be putting on track next week out?
To be honest, I have no clue yet. I think we still have to decide on that. Oh, well. You guys, you heard it there first. So Peter, thank you very much. And Mikko Korkiakoski, we have you finishing third place. Would you like to tell us about your race? And congratulations, by the way.
Thanks. Yeah, it was like a very difficult race. Didn't go as planned, and yeah, I had to drive pretty much every lap after somebody, and my tires just. My front tires were in so bad shape that I couldn't, when I got past somebody, they were useless, and the car was pretty useless on the straights too. I just couldn't do anything. I couldn't pass anybody on the straights. I was just sitting there and waiting for them to make a mistake. Not a good race.
Okay, well, for someone who didn't have a good race, finishing third in such illustrious company is a fantastic result. As the race was developing then, did you think you could keep third, or did you think you were going to come under attack from behind?
What point do you mean? What point in the race? After the pit stops? Oh.
Okay, so other than the tires, I mean, did you experience that tire wear?
Sorry, go ahead. I meant, what did you mean by that question? Did you mean after the pit stops, was I confident I could secure the third position, or what did you mean?
Sorry, yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Were you confident after the pit stops that you could still hold on to third place?
Yeah, definitely. On new tires, the car was very good, and I could catch Ben pretty quickly, but then the same thing, I just can't get past because the Porsche has no straight speed, so I was just driving behind him, and my tires were going bad, and at the end of the stint, at the end of the race, my front tires were almost burned so much that it was close to a puncture. So, but yeah, after I passed Ben, I was pretty confident that I could be third. It seems that I can't. I'm always third. I can't be second or first. It's always third. It's some kind of a curse for me.
Okay, well, maybe over the coming weeks you'll be able to exercise that curse and take a race victory. But for now, to our top three, congratulations, all of you. You put on a fantastic show for us. Everybody sitting watching the Sim Racing Team Challenge tonight would have gone away with a perfect example of just what sort of caliber we have in the field. So thank you all. Jose, David, do you have any questions for our top three? Anything else you want to bring to the broadcast?
No, not really. Only congratulations, guys. You made an excellent job. And see you next week.
Yeah, exactly. Just say thanks not only to them, but to all the grid. And yeah, waiting for the next race now.
Okei, kiitoksia terkkuja äitille.
Excellent. Well, thank you all. Thank you to all of our viewers. Thank you to all of our supporters. And for anybody who is wondering when this action will be back in town, next week, April the 15th, we'll be at Sugo, where hopefully we'll see that the Porsche is a little bit more suited to that track. Or will we? So if you've wanted to know what you should be doing on a Thursday evening, you now know. Sim Racing Team Challenge is the place to go. So thank you to all of our teams. Thank you to all of our racers. Thank you to the GameHoster.net for our servers. Thank you to PSR TV for our broadcast. And then for everyone that supports us, especially racedepartment.com, thank you. My name's Mark Wilmington. It's been a pleasure. And next week you can listen to the dulcet tones of Eckhart von Glan. Good night.